Our top story tonight, another day, another twist in the Flint water crisis, why the governor is pushing to use a federal program's dollars to combat the issue.
And they've come from near and far, how plumbers are stepping up to help Flint residents. But first, here's Chris.
High temperatures just shy of 50 degrees in some locations today. What to expect tomorrow coming up.
And coming up in our second half hour, it's the last weekend for presidential hopefuls to make their push for Iowa caucus goers. We'll take you on the campaign trail. The news at 10 starts right now.
You're watching WNEM TV5 News at 10, Mid-Michigan's original hour-long 10 p.m. news.
Good evening. I'm Faith Gantner.
And I'm Nick Lulli. Thanks for joining us. Governor Snyder pushing back tonight against Washington's denial to use a federal program to help fix the water crisis. Now, Snyder had requested to use supplemental nutrition funding for Flint children. The governor released this statement in response, saying, quote, "I have strongly and continually stated that it is essential for all levels of government to work together to help Flint recover from this crisis, as it was all levels of government that failed Flint." He went on to say that he strongly urges the federal government to reconsider the request and provide additional support for children ages 5 to 10.
And I have been informed that in a few of these results, the water showed levels of lead above 150 parts per billion.
Some Flint residents are now being told there's a chance the lead in their water is 10 times the federal limit. And even more concerning, the water filters being given out to residents may not be able to screen out this much lead. According to new numbers, the lead levels in water in some homes are much higher than expected.
Now let's take a look inside the numbers. Out of nearly 4,000 samples, 20 tested at 150 parts per billion. That's 10 times the allowable limit, and right at the edge of what the filters can actually handle. Now, still more than 93% of the samples were below 15 parts per billion.
Mark Durna with the EPA says it's trying to make sure the homes with this amount of lead coming out of the faucets are being appropriately treated.
If you have not had your water tested, get it tested now.
And Durno says they have much more data to go through, but he thinks they'll be able to share information on these very high numbers by early next week. And you'll find the entire news conference from yesterday on the TV5 homepage.
The city also says there are about 250 locations outside city limits that receive Flint water. This is just a partial list, but as you can see, it includes a church, businesses, and Bishop International Airport. The city is reminding these customers to get their water tested.
Gratitude. I mean, they're in a position where they really don't know what to do, how to do it, and they don't have the ability, and that's where we come in.
And some good news tonight. He's just one of the guys stepping up during a time of need. TV5's Rachel McCreary has the latest efforts on plumbers getting the job done during the Flint water crisis.
I think that's awesome.
Lawanda Asa is happy to get some help. Members of the Plumbing Manufacturers International, or otherwise called PMI, have donated hundreds of faucets and other plumbing supplies to the people of Flint. This is because a lot of the filters being handed out are not compatible with their faucets.
I'm totally grateful and feel that we're very blessed that we live in a country that people care that much.
And a team of more than 300 plumbers from unions across the nation will be stepping up in Flint and helping out the community. And they are helping out by installing faucets just like this one. Kevin Kines with Goyette Plumbing of Flint says he's looking forward to donating his time.
Excited that we can take our skills and abilities and use them to help people in need.
Kines says the overwhelming gratitude by Flint residents has made it all worth it. Dawn Robinson works for PMI and is thankful for the union volunteers.
Volunteered their time to drive up here today to be here and to go out to all the homes and get these products installed, and the support from the community has been amazing.
Union plumbers are going out to houses and apartment buildings throughout the area impacted by the water crisis. They hope to get the water back to a drinkable state. Asa says she's grateful, but is still holding off on drinking the water.
For now, because they keep coming up with different stuff every day. First they said, oh, the filter would make it fine, and then now they're saying, well, even with the filters. So until I get it actually tested, we're still sticking with bottled water.
Reporting in Flint, Rachel McCreary, WNEM TV5 News at 10 on My 5.
And switching gears now, a house goes up in smoke in Carlton Township. Several fire departments responded to a vacant house on Jackson Street around 10 this morning. No word yet on how that fire started.
Continuing coverage on a story we first brought you this morning on Wake Up. Police are investigating a double shooting in Saginaw. It happened at the Anderson Enrichment Center. A 28-year-old man and 24-year-old woman were shot around 2 a.m. Both victims suffered minor injuries. According to Saginaw police, investigators think it was a party that turned violent. Anyone with information should call Crime Stoppers at 1-800-422-JAIL.
And winter doesn't seem too bad today. You're taking a live look over Saginaw now, where some parts of the area have actually started to thaw. Meteorologist Chris Easlick is in the First Warn 5 Weather Center with the latest on Chris. How warm is it going to be tomorrow?
Well, Nick, it's going to be very similar today, at least in a few locations. We got a warm front moving through that should send temperatures near 50 in a few locations. More on that just a little bit later on. Let's go to highs from today. 49 in Flint, 1 degree shy. And judging by the fact that that warm front's coming through tomorrow, I don't think they're going to have any problem hitting 50 degrees as well. I also think Owasso and Lapeer have a pretty good chance of that too. We do have some rain showers on the way tomorrow that might throw those temperatures down in a few locations, but I do think that we will get there along I-69. As far as temperatures tonight, well, we're dealing mostly with the middle 30s into the upper 30s. Flint currently sitting at 42 is the warm spot tonight, but look at Carroll, 33 degrees there. There is a chance of an isolated shower or two overnight, and we're going to have to watch these temperatures closely, because if that dips below freezing and a shower passes through, well, that means some slick spots tomorrow morning. We'll keep you posted on that. Let's take a live look at Zender's Snowfest in Frankenmuth. And I have to say, looking from the evening shot earlier till now, I think Darth Vader is losing a little bit of weight. I think the snow is finally starting to see some of the effects of those warmer temperatures. We do have some rain showers moving into the picture. Again, most of them holding off until the morning hours and afternoon hours tomorrow. And we'll illustrate that on your day part forecast. Temperature is going to be pushing 50 degrees by the afternoon, at least to the south, and a little bit cooler farther north. We'll break down your full forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Chris, thank you. A sorority spent this morning honoring Dr. Martin Luther King's dream with a prayer breakfast. This year's theme was African American Women of God in the Media, and honored at the event was our own Colette Boyd.
And in the process, we are going to be honoring individuals who we believe epitomize the dream that Dr. King left for us.
This was the 12th year for the event, hosted by Phi Delta Kappa.
And Super Bowl 50 is almost a week away, and the NFL is celebrating in a unique way. They're giving a gold football to every high school that produced a player or coach who appeared in a Super Bowl before. Now that includes our own Bridgeport High School, which produced Monty Brown. He played for the Buffalo Bills in the 1994 Super Bowl. He also played with the New England Patriots in the 1997 Super Bowl.
And you can watch Super Bowl 50 on TV5. That's February 7th at 6:30. Zender's Snowfest continues today. Carvers from across the globe are showing off their incredible ice and snow sculptures. We caught up with some visitors checking it all out in Little Bavaria.
I think all the sculpting here are just fabulous. It's a great time to come out. The weather is perfect, and I enjoy the excitement. It's just really nice to be out here.
Snowfest continues through Monday, and TV5 is a proud sponsor.
And the Shock and Save charity hockey game, it took over the Dow Event Center today.
Yeah, the event raises money for CPR training and AED purchases within Mid-Michigan. Here's Nick Austin with a peek inside.
The 9th annual Shocks and Saves charity hockey game is in the books. It went down earlier today here at the Dow Event Center, and I was privileged to be a part of what Pulse 3 Foundation CEO Diane Fong says was the best charity hockey game yet.
We have 12 live people that are with us because someone did CPR on them and used a defibrillator. When we first started, it was hard to find anyone. People didn't do CPR. They were afraid. Now we have 12.
I know that 150 AEDs have been put in place around Mid-Michigan because of this event. Does that make what you do extra special and near and dear to your heart because you have the potential of saving, even if it's just one life?
Oh, absolutely. But it's not just one life. We know of 7 lives that have been saved through the AEDs that we've placed. We've also trained over 1,800 people for free in CPR through our organization. So if someone wants to learn CPR, call us at Pulse 3. anniversary.
Finally, what can you give us a little tidbit information on what's to come for future Shocks and Saves games?
Well, next year will be our 10th anniversary, so who knows what's going to happen, but I'm sure it'll be something good.
There was a great crowd on hand for what was truly a great cause, and it makes me feel really good about working right here in mid-Michigan. Reporting from the Dow Event Center, I'm Nick Austin for WNEM TV5 News.
All right, thank you, Nick. We'll have more sports news coming up in Sports Extra.
Well, it's a rare recall that affects your favorite technology.
Why Apple is recalling some power cords.
And Disney princesses left speechless how princes are stealing away the spotlight.
New information about escaped prisoners in California, why one of the men is collaborating with police.
Apple is recalling millions of power adapters because they could cause an electric shock. Now, the adapters were designed for use overseas and were shipped between 2003 and 2015 with Macs and other Apple devices. Now, Apple will exchange the faulty plugs for free at any Apple store or authorized Apple service provider.
2 remaining fugitives from a California jailbreak are back in custody.
Yeah, they were found in the San Francisco area, nearly 400 miles from the Orange County jail where they were being held. Brian Webb reports.
Sheriff's officials say escapees Jonathan Tu and Hussein Niari are back behind bars after a daring prison break. They were on the run for nearly 9 days.
The entire state can breathe a sigh of relief because we have the other 2 dangerous individuals back in custody.
The men were found in a stolen van parked at a San Francisco food market after being noticed by a neighbor. Niari fled on foot but was quickly caught. Tu was found hiding in the van along with ammunition. No weapon was found.
The focus shifts to continuing to look at where the system failed us, where policies and procedures were not followed.
Officials believe Tu, Niari, and a third inmate, Back Dong, cut through a steel grate and crawled through plumbing tunnels to get out of the jail. Dong split from the other 2 and turned himself into authorities Friday morning. Prison English teacher 44-year-old Nishafran Ravari was arrested in connection with the escape.
We know there was some type of relationship that developed, but how far it went and whether it was physical or not, we're still trying to confirm that.
The men are being interviewed and will soon be taken back to Orange County and placed in a high-risk area at the same jail where they escaped. Brian Webb for CBS News.
Now, the prison break was similar to one last summer you may remember in upstate New York. Prison employee Joyce Mitchell pleaded guilty to smuggling in tools that helped Richard Matt and David Sweat break out of prison.
1 person is dead and several others injured after a shooting and stabbing at a motorcycle expo in Colorado. It happened earlier this afternoon at the National Western Complex in Denver, where a motorcycle expo is being held. Police have not released how many people were injured in the attack or whether gangs were involved. So far, no arrests have been made.
All right, well, it's an Insta-celeb in handcuffs.
Why this Kardashian groupie was forced off an airplane. But first, here's Chris.
Guys, thank you. It's no secret that we are much warmer than we were at this time yesterday. So just how warm? About 10 to 15 degrees difference tonight from this time yesterday. And tomorrow we're going to be even warmer, too. Your forecast is coming up.
Developing news, according to Turkish authorities, at least 33 migrants have drowned after their boat capsized. The group was believed to be headed for Greece when the boat sank. 75 survivors were rescued. Authorities say the migrants were from Burma, Afghanistan, and Syria.
After eluding capture for years, 2 mafia bosses have been arrested in southern Italy. Police found mobsters Giuseppe Ferraro and Giuseppe Crea in an underground bunker. Ferraro was found guilty of murder and mafia association decades ago. He'd been a fugitive since 1998. Now, Crea was convicted of mafia association and had been on the run for 9 years. Their hideout had an array of weapons, including rifles, pistols, and machine guns.
Norway is pushing back on the flood of refugees from the Middle East and North Africa.
Now, the Scandinavian nation says it will send 700 migrants back to Russia, which it considers safe. But as Phil Black reports, that is little comfort to some desperate families.
The winter weather in Norway's Arctic region changes quickly. When the sun shines, it's brief, just a few hours a day this time of year. When it goes, Temperatures drop and sharp winds cut through fabric. But thousands of migrants have still come here to this stark, striking landscape to find safety and perhaps prosperity. The Norwegian-Russian border. Here the countries' flags fly together. There are souvenirs from both, and signs in multiple languages declare this is a frontier of the borderless Schengen immigration zone. This is the end goal for what's become known as the Arctic route to Europe. During 2015, 5,400 migrants from various countries travelled through Russia and crossed this border on bikes because they weren't allowed to walk or drive across. Now something has changed here. There are no more bikes. The Norwegian government says no asylum seekers have tried to cross this border since the start of December last year. They think for a couple of reasons, because of the tougher checks they've put in place here, but also because of the tough Arctic winter conditions. Now Norway is working to send many of the migrants back in the other direction. 80 have been brought from across the country to this nearby camp. The government says they're to be deported because they already had permission to live in Russia, which it considers safe. That's little comfort to the Ibrahim family. Amjad, Noha and their 5-year-old daughter Letza are from the Syrian capital Damascus. They fled to Russia 3 years ago. To live, to work?
No, we thought that they have a treatment for my child.
Amjad says his daughter was diagnosed with autism. The couple hoped escaping the Syrian war and seeing Russian doctors would make a difference, but it didn't. Amjad says the treatment his daughter needs doesn't exist in Russia, and Norwegian doctors have since told him they can help. What will happen to you if you return to Russia?
No, my child will stay like this, and she will never be like another child. That will happen to me.
And as her father, what does that mean to you?
It means I am dying.
Syrians travel to Russia because it's one of the few countries where they can get temporary visas relatively easily. Russia and Syria remain allies. But that also means Moscow believes few Syrians need protection from their own government. So migrants here say being returned to Russia will inevitably see them sent back to Syria to live under a regime condemned by European countries, including Norway.
Certified most accurate by WeatherRate. Now your First Warn 5 forecast with meteorologist Chris Eastlick.
Very good Saturday evening, everyone. From the 20s and low 30s yesterday, all the way into the 40s, just shy of 50 in a few locations today. And we're going to stay warmer for tomorrow, too. Tonight, we'll see the clouds move back in. We'll be mostly cloudy overnight. An isolated shower isn't impossible, but really not going to be a great chance. Mild overnight lows tonight in the low and middle 30s. As far as the day tomorrow is concerned, we're going to be rainy. And again, mild tomorrow, too. A little bit more mild than what we saw today. Temperatures low to upper 40s. Again, with a few locations possibly hitting 50. When all is said and done, rainfall totals expected to be between 1/10 and 1/4 of an inch. Then we have some things to look forward to next week, or at least keep an eye on. We'll be quiet and mild on Monday as well, but a storm arrives Tuesday and Wednesday, a winter storm, but for us it might be more of a springtime storm, or at least have the look of that. Let's take you outside live and start you first in Saginaw tonight. Currently 36 degrees, feeling like 33 out there. So as we've gone throughout the night tonight, really haven't noticed a huge wind chill. That's because winds have calmed down south 3 miles an hour. Next stop, that is in Bay City. Currently 37 degrees there. Temperatures have fallen from where they are earlier today, but really not all that much. Expecting temperatures to stay above freezing tonight, but we do have a few locations we're keeping an eye on. Last stop, that's in Flint. Currently 42 degrees there. Traffic moving along just fine on I-75. Expect that to carry through the morning hours tomorrow, as tomorrow again going to be a mostly rain event. Your First Warn 5 pinpoint Doppler radar tonight showing you a clear picture right now, but a light shower or some drizzle in between before we get to the morning hours tomorrow. Definitely not impossible, but we are watching again a few locations with lower temperatures. Here's the setup on your First Warn 5 sky tracker showing you here's why we're watching the temperatures. We do have a few breaks in the clouds tonight. We're mostly overcast to mostly cloudy this evening, but a few breaks can send those temperatures down fairly quickly. So if we do see the rain showers move in, at least in that isolated fashion overnight, we could look at some slick spots on the roadways tomorrow morning. It's all a part of this system out to our west that's it's going to continue to push east tomorrow, eventually sending rain showers over the entire area, at least at different times of the day. Let's take you hour by hour, midnight tonight, morning hours tomorrow. The best chances in the morning hours tomorrow are going to be around the Tri-Cities and northward. Doesn't mean the I-69 corridor won't see them, but that's the best chance tomorrow morning. As far as the afternoon, that's when the rain really starts to overtake the rest of the area. That will hold at least through a good chunk of the evening before things move out of here very quickly on Monday. Monday morning, for your Monday morning commute, besides a stray sprinkle or maybe even a light flurry in those colder locations, you're looking pretty good. By the afternoon Monday, partly to mostly cloudy skies. Evening commute looking just fine on Monday as well. Clouds will roll back in on Tuesday, but as far as Tuesday at the midnight hour, we're looking pretty good as well. Temperatures tonight still fairly mild in most locations. 35 in Houghton Lake, 37 in Mount Pleasant, 36 in Alma. Carroll up a few degrees. They were down to 32 just a few minutes ago, but we are seeing the clouds move back in Carroll, so that's going to send the temperatures back up. But again, if that falls to the freezing point and we get some rain there, definitely going to be slippery tomorrow morning. Feels like temperatures, not a huge difference tonight, but a difference nonetheless. Some locations looking at a bigger difference than others. As far as your wind tracker this evening, mostly out of the southwest, about 5 to 10 miles an hour, but in those locations where you see the winds calm down as well, that's another thing that's going to work against those temperatures. Big story next week is the winter storm. Good chance of that storm arriving Tuesday and Wednesday. That's really what's clear right now. What's not so clear is what type of precipitation we'll see and how much of each of those types we will end up seeing in each location. Most likely scenario, we're going to see more rain than snow, or a rain and snow mix depending on our northern areas. Your forecast tonight, 35 degrees, increasing clouds. It's going to be mild overnight tonight. Tomorrow, looking at a rough estimate about 47 degrees for the entire area, but again, some of us going to be a little bit warmer than that. 7-day forecast shows 40 on Monday, so we'll keep the warm temperatures there. Even Tuesday and Wednesday, not looking too bad. But then it's right back down to the 20s by next weekend.
Wow, very warm for tomorrow.
Absolutely.
How's that going to make things for Snowfest?
It's going to melt those sculptures even more. We're already seeing them melt tonight.
You showed us a little bit earlier.
Right.
Get out there sooner rather than later if you're planning
Early
to
tomorrow
go.
morning.
Best bet. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks so much,
good.
Chris.
Absolutely.
Off the satellites, Disney princesses may be the stars of their movies, but they're not the voice. New research shows female characters often talk less than male characters.
And analysts noticed the trend after studying dozens of animated Disney fairy tales. Anna Werner has the latest.
In Disney's 1989 film The Little Mermaid, Ariel loses her voice to an evil sea witch. But according to new research, she isn't the only Disney princess left speechless.
Certainly the thing I was most surprised by was the complete predominance of male roles.
After analyzing every spoken word in the Disney princess movies, linguistics professor Carmen Fott and her team found there were more male characters than female in 11 out of the 12 films.
Even if the princess is the most empowered, feminist role model you can possibly imagine for a girl, she can't be the shopkeeper, she can't be the person in charge of lighting the candles in the castle.
And it's the men who do much more of the talking.
It's not right for a woman to read. Soon she starts getting ideas and thinking.
In 1991's Beauty and the Beast, male characters spoke 71% of the time. In the magical world of Aladdin, men nabbed 90% of the lines.
Look at me from the side. Do I look different to you?
But that wasn't always the case.
I didn't mean to frighten you. But
female characters spoke as much, if not more, than males in Disney's very first 3 princess films.
It's midnight.
When they went over from Sleeping Beauty to The Little Mermaid, they added a lot more characters, and almost all the characters they added were male.
Women also hold their own in some of Disney's more recent movies.
Mom, you're back!
In the 2012 hit Brave, female characters spoke 74% of the time, more than any other Disney princess film.
Let it go, let it go.
A year later in Frozen, it was just 41%, even though it's a story about 2 sisters that was written and co-directed by a woman.
Now back up while I deal with this crook here.
So how much of a problem is that?
You need to take that artwork as a whole.
Time contributor Darlene Cunha says it's not only about word count.
We're seeing more women in charge, more women taking chances, more women being active in the roles that they fulfill and in their ambition to get those roles.
But thought is also looking at what is being said, whether it's commands, apologies, or compliments.
You fight good.
People all over the world, they're watching these movies. They're incredibly popular. What message are they getting?
Just listen. Listen.
Wow.
Very interesting.
Yes.
Something I never really would have thought about.
Yeah, I guess the big parts and the big songs doesn't necessarily mean it's the most speaking, I guess, during the time.
Moving in the right direction, though, it looks like. So
Looks
that's
like
good.
it. That's
And
definitely some good news.
now I'm going to have Let It Go stuck in my head the
Me
rest
too.
of the night. The Zika virus continues its widespread rampage throughout South America.
And more people are being asked not to travel, and we're going to have the latest on what airlines are doing. Plus,
And for the latest news and weather, you can download the TV5 mobile app. You can find it in the App Store or on Google Play. Just search WNEM.
You're watching WNEM TV5 News at 10 on My 5. Accept no substitute.
and thanks so much for sticking around with us for our second half hour of WNEM TV5 News at 10 on My 5. And here's a look at some of the top stories that we're following tonight.
Governor Snyder released a new statement today about the Flint water crisis. The federal government has denied the state's request to use supplemental nutrition funding for Flint children. The governor is now urging the federal government to reconsider the request and provide additional support for children ages 5 to 10.
And the two remaining fugitives from a California jailbreak are back in custody. The Orange County Sheriff's Office announced today that Hussein Nayeri and Jonathan Tu are with police in San Francisco. A third fugitive, Bok Duong, surrendered Friday. All three vanished in a sophisticated escape from an Orange County jail last week. And Iowans will head out to the caucus Monday night, but Hillary Clinton's last-minute campaigning is being overshadowed by news that she stored classified emails on an unsecured private server while she was Secretary of State.
Craig Boswell is on the campaign trail with Clinton and has more from Iowa.
Hillary Clinton got a big endorsement from Gabby Giffords, a former congresswoman turned gun rights advocate after she was shot and injured in 2011.
Come January, I want to say these two words, Madam President.
Clinton, who is clinging to a narrow lead in Iowa, says she is best qualified to take office from day one.
So please go out and stand up for me on Monday night. And if you do, I will stand up and fight for you for the next 4 years.
But some lined up to hear Clinton talk about another issue, her email scandal.
Yeah, I think about that a lot.
Raj Shri and Dr. Sanjeev Agarwal are undecided voters. They're disappointed she didn't address the issue. What do you think now?
I think this is a very high-level national security issue. Yeah.
So at some point between now and Monday, you want to hear more about this story?
I want to hear more about it.
Clinton's opponent, Bernie Sanders, says he's staying focused on the issues that impact voters.
Right now, election well today, I would say it's a toss-up.
The Republicans are also crisscrossing the state for support.
Don't we all like winning? We got to win, okay?
In Sioux City, Marco Rubio said Clinton isn't qualified to lead the country.
She believes she's above the law. What she did is because she believes she is above the law.
Rubio is polling in third behind Ted Cruz and Donald Trump. Craig Boswell, CBS News, Ames, Iowa.
And Hillary Clinton's campaign has released a statement calling for a Democratic debate to be held in Flint. It goes on to say that Flint residents' voices must be heard and that a debate in the city would go a long way.
And ahead of the Iowa caucuses, Marco Rubio's campaign plans to air a television special in the state this weekend. It's aimed at Iowans who have been unable to attend his town hall meetings. Caucus goers can call in with their questions during the 30-minute show, or they can tweet the candidate via hashtag #HeyMarco. The first broadcast is scheduled this evening in Sioux City at 5:30 Central. That's 6:30 Eastern. The rest will air tomorrow on stations in Cedar Rapids, Des Moines, Davenport, and again in Sioux City.
The Zika virus is showing up in the U.S. slowly, but the illness is already widespread in South America and the Caribbean.
And pregnant women are being told not to travel in affected areas, and that has moms-to-be canceling trips. Hannah Daniels has our top story in dollars and cents.
Stephanie Code is 24 weeks pregnant and planned to take her baby moon trip to Puerto Rico. But news of the Zika virus there forced her to cancel.
Sounds like the possibilities are very grave. If something were to happen.
Mosquito spread Zika, which can cause fever, rash, and joint pain. But the virus appears to be dangerous for pregnant women and those trying to get pregnant because it's been linked to babies being born with abnormally small heads. The major airlines are offering pregnant women and their travel companions with tickets to Zika-affected nations a refund or rebooking. United says its offer is not only for customers who are pregnant, but also those who are attempting to become pregnant. JetBlue and Delta say they'll work to accommodate any ticketed customers with concerns. Major cruise lines say they will also try to accommodate pregnant women. USA Today travel reporter Charisse Jones says so far the virus has not had a major impact on the travel industry.
There's not a big fear that this is going to cause widespread travel cancellations. I mean, it's not an airborne virus, so it's not going to go from passenger to passenger.
We kind of decided not to risk it.
Brooke Enhelter is 5 months pregnant and switched her baby moon from the Dominican Republic to Disney World.
It's an odd choice for a baby moon, but I think we'll have a good time.
Hannah Daniels for CBS News, New York.
Facebook and Instagram are telling private gun sellers to take their business elsewhere. The social networks are updating their policies to ban private gun sales on both platforms. A Facebook executive said licensed firearm retailers will still be able to post about their goods and services, but sales of guns by one person to another are not allowed. Facebook, which owns Instagram, also prohibits using either site to sell illegal drugs.
And Volkswagen may buy back some of the diesel cars linked to its emissions cheating scandal. The German automaker has so far rejected demands from lawmakers and consumers that it should repurchase the vehicles under recall. But recent statements from the company indicate it's reconsidering that position. Last year, VW admitted it sold millions of diesel fuel cars with software designed to trick emissions tests. A Volkswagen attorney told a U.S. federal court that a buyback program may be a solution for some of the vehicles.
Uber is cutting prices in New York. This after the company was faced with falling ridership. The ride-sharing company says its fares for popular Uber X service have dropped by 15%. The minimum fare is now $7. In a blog post, Uber said it's cutting prices because ride requests are down in winter months. The company hopes to encourage more riders and make more money for its drivers.
Okay, if you're on the lookout for a job, you may be able to get a job playing with Legos all day long. That sounds fun. The company wants to hire 20 master builders in its Florida factory to, quote, make sturdy, accurate, complicated, safe, and installable Lego models. Now, the hiring process will include participating in a Lego build-off.
Dream job for lots of
right?
people.
Oh my gosh, sign me up.
All right, well, Netflix is reviving another classic TV show.
And if you missed them, the Gilmore Girls will be back in action once again.
But first, researchers are linking a common disease with sleep difficulties. Find out why coming up.
Is Dylan Larkin the fastest skater ever? Possibly. See his latest feat ahead in sports.